Okay, first off, just your name.
My name's Barry Hodnett.
Now let's first off start with the great bombshell. Tell us about going to hospital during COVID.
Well, leading up to COVID, I knew I had a bit of a heart problem. I hadn't had any of the weaponised jabs that they were giving out, so I was pretty sure I didn't have a problem there. But I knew over the years that my blood pressure was going up sort of year on, but I'm not sort of person that worries too much about these things, not having a lot of faith in the medical system. But it came to a stage where I was walking probably 250 miles with, 250 metres with 5 kilos of shopping over my shoulder, and I stopped. I just couldn't walk any further. I was out of breath and stopped for a while and then continued home, which wasn't too far. Got home and I got hold of my wife. I rang her. She was in Perth on the way to Brisbane to do some business. And I thought, what am I going to do? And she convinced me to go to the Bunbury Hospital. So, but I'd heard over the radio that, according to the Premier at that time, Mark McGowan, that the hospitals were full, just full of, people having problem with COVID. And he'd always give the numbers of how many people were getting sick and what's happening there. And I was dreading going into emergency about 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday. I thought, oh God, what am I going to do? Anyway, I followed what my wife said. I jumped into the car and went to Bunbury Hospital and parked it up and got into the emergency, and I couldn't believe it. The place was empty and it was supposed to be full from what our Premier had been telling us. And I went straight into the triage and they sorted me out and put me onto a bed. And a little while later, a doctor came along and they sorted me out and discovered what the problem was. But I just couldn't believe that the hospital was empty of people.
How long were you there in the hospital?
I was on the bed for quite a long time because it'd sort of taken quite a long time to do the tests. I was probably there for 4 or 5 hours, and hardly anybody came in that period of time. I thought, well, we've been lied to. And I know we get lied to, but to this extent I thought there'd be a lot more people in there with COVID problems, and there just wasn't.
So you were saying when you were young, you used to stutter. Now I remember stuttering was a huge problem when I was young, not with me, but people had it.
Yeah.
How bad was your stutter?
Well, when you're in high school, sometimes you've got to read a book or tell a story to the rest of the class. And I'd done all my preparation, but when I got to the front of the class, nobody really noticed how nervous I was, and I just stutter, and I just couldn't get the words out. And a little bit later in life, when you're stuttering, you want to ask a girl out, and you walk up to her and you have a chat with her, and you're that nervous, I couldn't get the words out, and I'd just walk away. But I realised in time I had a problem, bad problem.
How did you overcome it? Because it was a really powerful thing to overcome. One of the kings had it during World War II.
That's right too.
Yeah.
It was absolute total concentration and breathing, and I got out of it myself. It took quite a long time, but it was just full concentration and breathing.
What do you mean breathing? Just before you spoke, you...
Yeah, just breathe good deep breaths before I spoke and concentrate.
And how long did it take you to get through that?
A couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you felt yourself getting better at it? I mean, you're amazing now. You haven't stuttered at all.
Well, I amazed myself that I'm not stuttering now. No, I mean, it worked for me.
Yeah.
And now I can ask a nice lady out.
Yeah. Can I ask you, how were you taken around with the stuttering? Was it hard to be in social gatherings because you...
Oh, absolutely. I became much of a loner. I was very much a loner because of it. I couldn't talk to anybody. It was certainly a handicap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I say that now, but I've never used that word before because I haven't gone back and thought about it.
When you had it though, do you know where it came from? Were you stuttering as a little kid? Did it come on in school?
Yeah, it certainly came on in school, probably high school. Uh, Maybe part of that was because I'd gone to another school with a different language. And
What do you mean a different language?
I don't want to go too deep into this, but my parents sent me to a school that spoke the Afrikaans language. I was the only English-speaking
Oh, you
guy
were in
there.
South Africa.
Well, different parts of Africa, but they sent me to school in South Africa.
Okay.
And probably when I had to think of Afrikaans words talking to people, I'd sort of get past the word out and not the rest.
Yeah.
But I don't really know.
Yeah.
But I was certainly quite nervous at that school for a while because they all didn't like the English because of what the English did to the Afrikaans nation.
Oh, so you not only had to stutter, but you had to learn another language too.
right.
You poor bastard. Just to make it especially hard.
It was, yeah.
But you got through it.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
You got no choice.
Yeah.
We are responsible for ourselves.
Yeah. What did you end up doing as a job?
Well, from there I went to an agriculture college in the old country called Rhodesia, and then did my army service there. And then I came to Australia, not knowing anybody, basically not knowing anything, and ended up in shearing teams for 25 years.
A shearer. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a hard job.
Like every job, it's what you make it. I loved it.
Were
It
you
was
the shearer? You were
Yeah.
actual shearer?
yeah.
How did you manage to sustain your back? Because I know, or did that sling come in then?
Oh, the sling came in about 5 years before I stopped. But as I say to people, the sling, it's probably good for your maybe muscles, but your back is still bent over.
Yeah.
So I don't really know if it's good or not. I don't know.
And how many sheep would you do in a day?
That's a very difficult question. There's so many variations. I'd like to say I'd average 160, 170.
Wow.
No, but the thing is, you get the Kiwis that shear different sheep. They're meat sheep.
Well, they're more fond of their sheep.
Well, we won't go into that one right now.
It's more of a romantic engagement.
Where the Kiwis go for a strip show, the shearing shed. Yeah, right. Anyway, we won't get stuck into the Kiwis. They're good people, mighty people. But the Kiwis, they'll do figures of 330, 350 a day on a neck.
Wow.
They're different sheep, different conditions.
But
When
when
they
you
are good shearers.
and so did you just do it around this area, or you went all over Australia?
Pretty well all over Australia, New Zealand, and over to Ireland as well.
Wow, that's
And I wasn't-
fascinating.
And I wasn't stuttering in front of the Irish colleens either.
What was it like shearing in Ireland? Was it different from Australia?
Oh, much different, yeah. You shear out in the field,
Oh,
and sometimes you've got to go and gather the sheep, and you gather the sheep, and then they're jumping over the rock walls, so you've got to do it all over again. But
you're still
it was
using
fun.
the electric one?
Yeah, it's all electric, yeah.
Yeah. And in Australia, so you saw Australia in your time very different from Australia now, when you were shearing as a young fellow.
Unfortunately, the shearing industry has basically disappeared. At the peak of the game of shearing, there was about 190 million sheep. Now there's about 60 million sheep left. I mean, there's still shearers, obviously, but there are pressures on the wool industry to get rid of the sheep, basically.
Oh, really?
Well, in WA now, they're banning the live export of sheep.
Yeah.
But the people that are buying the sheep off us, they've got to buy them from somewhere else now.
Yeah.
So it's just what's happening. It's going to decimate the country areas.
Did you, when you were a shearer, you travelled with a team of shearers, you were saying?
Oh, you'd be with the team for maybe 4 or 5 months, and then they'd run out of work, the contractor, and you'd have to jump on the phone or look in the Saturday's paper, the employment section, and go through the contractors and start ringing up and find another job.
So can I ask, when you were in one of these Shearers teams, was it very politically correct where you never swore or never said anything out of place?
Fuck off.
I am laughing up here. so what was it like being with them? It must have been a lot of fun.
Oh, it was fun all the time. It had to be.
Yeah.
Now, in the station country, with the shearing, it was mostly all blokes.
Yeah.
A lot of time you'd certainly have a female cook, but there could be up to 20 guys in a team in the bigger teams, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good guys. It was hard work. Have a few drinks after work and have a good tea. If the cook wasn't much good, you'd get rid of them and get another one. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and was there a lot of drinking too, or they were dry sheds?
Oh, no such thing as a dry shed. But
I love it.
I mean, there are alcoholics there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they put a good day's work in. That's no problem. Most of the guys were good. But it's just like getting guys anywhere else. I mean, you work hard. You have a couple of drinks after work, and it's normal.
In these shearing sheds in the height of summer, these shearing sheds were well appointed and air conditioned.
Yeah, you're waiting for the Fremantle doctor to come up the chute to cool you down.
But how did you put up with that heat?
You drink a lot of water because you're sweating from. Once you start shearing, half an hour, it doesn't matter the temperature, you're sweating. Yeah.
And where, can I just ask, as a person who's never shorn a sheep, where would you start when you shored them?
Oh, you start on the belly, you start down here.
Yeah.
And take the wool off down there. And with the weathers that got a little pizzle, you got to make sure you don't cut that. Yeah. It's. I was probably very fortunate. I started off as a rouseabout in a place called Campbellup, and there were 2 Kiwis in the team and 2 Aussies in the team, 4-stand shed, and these guys realised that I could work, and they were more than happy to show me how to shear.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they're great guys.
Yeah. So it was a real mateship.
Oh, all the way.
So you miss it?
I'd rather be back there than what I did for my later work.
What was the later work?
I was a courier around Perth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which was completely different.
You're still dealing with sheep.
Why did you decide not to take the hoo juice?
Well, I was sick as a little kid. A bit of a weed of a bloke, I suppose you'd say.
Yeah.
As I say to people, I was probably born in a drought year.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much feed around. And so I had to look after my health. No smoking, lots of exercise, lots of running. And that's how I was as a real youngster. And then going into shearing teams, I had to be at the top of my peak. It's a bit like you've got an animal that's working hard. You feed them properly, and I realised I'm that animal, and I have to look after myself. Yeah.
So you decided what goes in your body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I met a guy that was he was shearing at the time. He was one of the guys that taught me to shear, and he was very keen to be a naturopath. And he started natural therapies, and he used myself and a couple of other guys to practice the iridology on, and he'd tell us our characteristics and what was right and wrong with us. And he told us about the contents of vaccines back then. I was 27.
Wow.
And I thought, no, these things are bad. Never had one since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So here you are, no PhD to your name,
Well, no.
self-taught learned shearer, and yet you still made your own decision about your body.
Well, you have to. Everybody has to. You're responsible for yourself. Nobody else is responsible for themselves.
So when did you arrive in Australia?
1974.
So 1974, from where it was then, where every car you see would have been made in Australia, everything was made,
Pretty well.
to where you are now, what have you seen and what are your thoughts on where we are as a country now?
Well, we've got a wonderful country that's going downhill fast. It's Well, currently, I'd even say for the last 50 years, the incentive for people to work for their own benefit has basically gone. There's no point working hard.
Yeah, because there's nothing to gain.
No.
Yeah, what are you concerned about digital ID or anything else coming forward, or you don't bother by any of that?
I don't understand computers, why would I? No, cash all the way. Yeah. You have to do what's practical, what you understand.
Yeah.
And a lot of people got different understandings. It might be good for the young ones, they understand computers, but I keep pressing the wrong buttons. Ask my wife.
Maybe pressing the wrong buttons is why you're doing so well.
Well, I've got great bomber friends where I am with people that have gone down the same health track.
So, do you feel the last 5 years, have you benefited or not benefited from making the decisions you did? Has your life changed in the last 5 years because of that decision?
It has, because my wife and I had different aspects of this COVID nonsense. So we're no longer together, unfortunately. She's a good lady. I'll always say that.
So the jab is what split you up? Or
We still
participated?
had differences between that, and that certainly didn't help. And she didn't want to know anything about what I was talking about for a long time, because I've been into health issues, trying to understand things, and also political things that are happening around the world, and she wasn't interested.
So
It made life very difficult.
yeah, this has happened all through.
Yeah.
Can I ask, are you on the hunt for anyone? Have you met anyone new?
I'm currently by myself, and I'd rather have a good mate with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you were undressing this new mate, would you use the same technique as you do shearing sheep?
I'm not a Kiwi.